Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts every single day. Rudo and Meghan busting out the shades because that game was shade-worthy. I mean, Shady Rays definitely getting their value. We look good. We look good with these shades on. I'm not going to lie. Got the vibes going today. Avs win 4-1 over the St. Louis Blues. I would describe this as a pretty easy one. I'm not going to lie to you, chat. I think the Avs got exactly what they wanted out of this hockey game. We can start it all off with the 60-second rundown here. First period started off a bit slow, both teams feeling each other out, but the Avs steadily took over and dominated the majority of the period, eventually getting rewarded. Mikko Rantanen finally gets his 200th goal. Just a beautiful snipe on Bennington there. The Avs go up 1-0 after the first. Second period, for the most part, was more domination for Colorado. They really took over the possession of this hockey game. In that regard, this game was never really close. Bowen Byram steps into one, just beats Bennington clean. Maybe it was deflected, but I'm calling it clean. Avs go up 2-0. They do give that goal back, unfortunately, on the other end of that one to make it 2-1 after 2. And then the third period, they take care of business. They get in, they play good hockey. The power play comes through for them. Val Nichushkin gets one in tight on the power play off a great play from Lehkonen, and Bo seals the deal on another power play for a 4-1 final, getting Justus Annunen in the W. Really very, very little to complain about in this hockey game. We'll get to the one goal the Avs give up, but let's just start at the top here. Meghan, just quality play from the Avs' entire lineup, basically, right? I genuinely, and obviously having Makar on the defense back helps, yada, yada, yada. But I'm looking through the lineup. I'm going, oh, that line played well. That line played well. This line played well. I really have very, very few problems tonight. Even for guys that maybe weren't playing their best, like a JT Compher. He picked up an assist tonight. So what am I complaining about? Nothing to say other than good stuff about this hockey game.
I think he had 2 assists.
Did he pick up a second one?
Oh,
geez. So I'm not even giving him enough credit.
Yeah, I think actually both Girard and Compher had 2 assists.
Girard did,
which makes
for
a
sure,
very complicated conversation for them both.
And we'll get into that a little bit, but let's start at the back. Annunen thrown into the fire tonight. Workload wasn't crazy, but what did you think of him back there?
I think the observation I had was less about him and more about the team playing in front of him. It seemed like a conscious, concerted effort to protect the net front as best as possible. And so there was a lot of shot blocking, getting sticks in lanes, happening to keep that workload as light as possible. And I think where they could, they tried to sustain pressure in the offensive zone just to keep things out of their end to the best of their ability. Great penalty kill. Like, they just really supported Justus in so many different ways that it's not to take away from the fact that he only gives up 1 goal in this game, but I do notice the Avs made a huge effort to support him.
I think St. Louis ended the game with 20 shots on goal.
20 total shots.
That's awfully low. And you know what? It's, I think, what a lot of people expect to see out of the Avs. They did a lot of that last year. You started to see it a little bit here and there this season. I don't think you're going to see it to the level you saw last year, but ignore the back-to-backs for a second. I understand stuff like this is not sustainable on a Sega Baba. Over the next month or two, or can we see more of this out of Colorado?
Tonight felt really balanced because you alluded to how that line looked pretty good, that line looked pretty good. This felt like some of the most balanced hockey I've seen them play, which points to sustainability. Like in the piece I'll write for the game story, I actually asked Andrew Cogliano about the strategy in back-to-back, specifically if they do approach it with a kind of selectively conservative approach, and he said it was just the opposite, that they do start the games, which I think you can note in tonight, the first period was one of the best
Yep.
for a reason. They want to make their life easier for themselves in the second and the third based upon how good they play in the first. And I think that's a really sustainable strategy because it is hard to count on chasing games and climbing back into them versus doing the right things early. And so just based upon how balanced the lineup looked compared to other nights and how well they played in the first period, this points to a winning formula that they can replicate.
I certainly hope so. It's definitely a winning formula. At times, it does feel like the Avs are dancing through raindrops with some injury concerns and things like that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in the third period. But it's just quality hockey. And genuinely, a lot of people have been asking the Avs to play a full 60. Sure, maybe they let off the gas a little bit in the last 5 once the game was secure, but it's about as close to a full 60 as you can get from a hockey team. So I really think the Avs deserve a lot of credit here for this one. You get going. They do struggle a little bit to beat Bennington early. How big was it for Mikko to finally break through and put one in the back of the net? It's been a couple of games for him.
There's something really gratifying about the way that goal happened, too. You were being a little bit critical of finishing right as it happened.
It's true.
And it happens because of good business. Like, they're cycling the puck, they're establishing the zone, and Mikko Rantanen gets to operate out of the right circle where he does what he does best, and he finally finishes. They needed that because they needed to open the scoring. I think it opened up the scoring for the rest of the game for a player like Byram to step up. And this is a team that Mikko Rantanen knows how to score against. You just kind of expected it, and so it was really fulfilling to see him open it up for them.
Obviously got to give Mikko credit. We tweeted out the graphic, but that 200th goal of his career, pretty good for a kid who's, not even really in his prime yet. A lot of more of those to come.
It's pretty exciting. Like, his record against St. Louis is impressive, but just to hit that milestone marker in a season where a lot has been asked of him. And you look at the role he's meant to play in Colorado, and this is what he's meant to be. He is meant to be a top 6, top-line winger in this league, and I think that he has really stepped into that. Last few games have been a little bit quiet, but there's a reason he's hitting his 200th goal marker.
This is... I think we've talked about the inverse of this a lot. We talk about bottom 6 players. The reason they're bottom 6 players is because they are inconsistent when it comes to their production. The reason that Mikko is so impressive is because if he has a couple of quiet games, you can rely on him to show up very soon. He doesn't have those extended stretches of bad hockey. Even if he does play frustrating hockey at times, he's effective. And he didn't even do that tonight. I thought he was very good tonight, for the record, as a whole, not just getting the goal, but was playing quality hockey, and the high wire act was working with some of those moves he had going.
He helps with the Byram goal that follows. So, big role.
It's the Avs are very lucky. I think at times it gets taken for granted that they have so many guys that can do that for them. Obviously, Mikko, McKinnon, Makar. But as we'll get to, even someone like Bowen Byram can step up and take over hockey games. And a lot of teams just don't have that many guys that are capable of doing things like that. You talked about them wanting to bring a little bit of that extra pressure in front of Annunen to protect the house a little bit more. When you have those guys, it makes your life a lot easier on the back end to do whatever you need to do. Going through the second period, Megan, I know you said you thought the first period was their best period. I have no problems with the second. I know they give up their goal there, but the way they played that period, I will take, especially in a road game, every single day. I have very little problem with it. You talked about the Bo first goal. Anything fancy you saw on it, or did Bo just beat Jorden Bennington?
Bo just beat Jorden Bennington. Let me look at my notes again, because the second goal, he just beat Jorden Bennington.
The second one for sure.
Here's what I liked about his first goal, though. The way that this gets set up starts with him in his own end.
Yep.
He begins the transition. Gerard breaks it up ice to Mikko Rantanen. He has to use his speed to get in front of that play, and I think that warranted a call-out. So that was the thing I found impressive about that first Bo goal.
Avs are nothing if they ain't fast, I suppose.
Yeah, like that play starts and finishes with Bo. That's a really mature move for him to, and you just kind of can come to expect that now.
It is really funny. I talked about this the other night. You forget that Bo is barely of legal drinking age in this country.
Yeah.
You just look at him and you're like, yeah, he plays like a 30-year-old. He's veteran. No, that dude is 21. So it's weird to feel like the Avs are in the middle of their cup window, but also have like insane young talent that's going to keep things on lockdown for years to come. And that's why we made Bo king of the game.
Well deserved.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, the second goal we'll get to and talk about in a little bit, but it makes the Avs so much more dangerous. And this isn't just Bo, but the fact that all of their defensemen can get so involved in the play. Bo with 2 goals. You mentioned Gerard with 2 assists. Cale Makar, obviously, always insanely dangerous. And Devon Taves is no slouch either. So Avs having no trouble. I'm going to be honest. They really didn't miss Josh Manson in this game.
It touches on what we've alluded to, but they have to find ways to win games, even in the absence of a player like Josh Manson.
Yep.
Now, we don't hope that it ever reaches the levels that we've seen where so many key players are missing from the lineup. But again, if they want to be competitive in the playoffs, they have to expect that there might be some games where even if Josh Manson's playing, what if he doesn't have a 100% game that night? You just have to have a team that finds other ways to win in the absence of somebody else.
Yeah. Great point. Bednar never shies away from leaning away from the guy who's struggling on any given night. So it's just fun to watch when they have their healthy guys going at full bore. That's all there is to it. Also fun is looking good in our Shady Rays. Look at these things. They're nice. Yeah, look at that. What are these called even, Steph? Tiff? I don't even know. Nobody knows the name of these ones, but you can go get them. Oh, look at that. Megan's got the moves with the glasses. You can go get them at shadyrays.com today. When you order 2 pairs or more with code DNVR, you get 50% off your order. You can also go in person if you're local at Park Meadows Mall. They have tons of different designs. These aren't even mine. I stole these from Tiff. Mine are the super awesome wrestler ones.
Oh, I do like those. Didn't Mitch Marner kind of wear
He
something
did.
that looked like that for
they were
the
fairly
breakaway
similar.
challenge?
Yeah.
I almost tagged, but I was like, they're not exactly the same. I don't know if this is a conflict, but
so go get your glasses. They're amazing. They work really well. Can confirm. If you ever want to test sunglasses, bring them up here to our set and stare into the bright lights. The Shady Rays work.
Nice.
They really, really work well on the lights. I'm very impressed by that, actually. They also do ski goggles if you're into that. And the best part is they have a 30-day guarantee. If you lose them, if you break them, you can return them, get them replaced immediately. And if you don't like them, you can get refunded. So Shady Rays has you covered. Rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people. Get in there, get yourself some Shady Rays. And once you're looking fly in your sunglasses, make sure you get over to Pins and Aces so you can get the rest of your setup looking fly out on the golf course. They got the polos, they got the shorts, the pants. Golf pants? Do you just call them golf pants? I don't know.
I think so.
Okay, I'm going with that. But the best look. All right, we take care of the head area the best. The Pins and Aces golf hats with DNVR, mwah, they're the best. They make you look super fly. All right, even for a white guy, they make you look good. You can go over to pinsandaces.com today to order. Use code DNVR over there to get, I believe it's 10% off your order. It might be 15%. I don't know which one. Either way, use the DNVR code. Get what you need. If you need to bring beers on the golf course, they got the beer sleeve. Goes right in your bag, too. Got you totally covered. Between Shady Rays and Pins and Aces, if you're not looking good at that point, I don't know what to tell you. Even I can look good in their gear. So... Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Avs really just rolling through the majority of this game. And then they have the one big mistake that ends up costing them. A clear from Sam Girard that was ill-advised, to say the least. And then unfortunate coverage on the way back. How much of a concern do you think there is about this play? Is this a, hey, this is something we need to look at and get fixed immediately? Or is this a, hey, don't worry about this, we won the game easily, not a big deal?
I still think that they'll probably reflect on it, but it also felt like one of those obvious mistakes where Girard goes back to the bench and it's not even addressed because he knows how badly he messed up that clear. And I think the part that could warrant further evaluation, though, are the ways in which both Englund and Girard, in trying to get back and defend against this play, there are two opportunities they both miss to correct this mistake. And that's where Englund especially could benefit from learning why his backdoor coverage there just was a step behind the play. And Girard, in seeing the shooter, I think it was Kyrou at the net front, who passes to Sammy, different Sammy, Blay. See, there's one good Sammy and one bad Sammy.
Evil Sammy, confirmed.
Evil Sammy. So, yeah, for Kyrou to Blay, I think Girard could have even gotten a stick or the body down there. So there's two moments where they maybe could have corrected this that they didn't. That would be worth looking at again. The clear, just kind of boneheaded. I don't think he makes that same mistake again.
It's a really good point. As big a mistake as you want to make of the clear, I always say goals against are multiple errors stacking on top of each other. It's very rarely just one mistake that leads to a goal against. So a very, very good point that you're certainly looking at what happened after the turnover as much as the turnover itself to get that corrected. I think through the first half of this game, you could reasonably be pretty critical of Sam Girard. I think particularly the pairing of Girard and Englund were not very good together in this game. But again, you found ways to be effective, even the guys who were struggling. You mentioned the 2 assists from Girard. Englund, down the stretch in the third period, played a pretty decent defensive game, was throwing the body around, making things happen. So even the guys who didn't bring their A game brought a good enough game to win tonight. We'll put it that way. You get down into that third period, a couple of different things happen. Let's talk about the injuries first. Cale Makar on a power play, a bit of a weird play. He loses the puck. His only defensive option is to step up and collide with the man in front of him. Bit of a weird collision. Makar kind of takes a glancing blow as he lays a hit. They end up sending him back to the dark room to do concussion protocol. He comes back. He's totally fine. Preface this with, we're not doctors. We're not trying to speculate on injuries or anything like that. Do we think Makar's going to be okay?
Yes. It does seem like something they'll treat with extreme caution too. So depending on how he wakes up feeling tomorrow, if he wasn't an option for tomorrow, I wouldn't jump to the worst possible conclusion. I do feel like they want to be especially cautious with an injury of this nature, and then just coming so closely on the heels of a concussion. I don't immediately point to he's going to miss time. You just see the way in which his head wobbles a little bit there, that it's a possibility. You don't want to be not careful enough.
Definitely. It's absolutely no reason to make it worse if it does end up being a situation. I've watched it back a number of times. I really don't think it's that bad. I think it's one of those normal reactions of when something goes by their face that they're like, whoa!
It does seem like all of the contact was absorbed in his chest. I think his head just sort of wobbles because it does. He even embraces it. So I kind of see the same thing.
On the flip side, this game got a little bit messy. Behind the Avs net, Andreas Englund throws a hip check on Brown, who he kind of tries to squeeze himself between Englund and the net, ends up kind of doing a tip and face plant into the ice. pretty gnarly, a lot of blood. I'm pretty sure he's fine, just a broken nose. Megan, your thoughts on the hit? Did you think it was clean?
I didn't have an issue with it. Obviously hate the outcome. Really brutal.
Yeah.
But I didn't have an issue with the hip check. I also didn't re-watch it more than the one replay altitude had. So
I really didn't have a problem. I really tried to scrutinize it, and the only thing that I could say is like maybe it's just a touch low. Okay. I don't even think the timing is a problem. Like the dude has the puck and shovels it ahead, and then Andre Englund is hitting him. I really don't see an issue with that at all. And for the record, there was nothing wrong with the Makar play either. It was completely coincidental. Was perfectly fine that neither of those were penalties.
Oh, yeah.
So, unfortunately, sometimes that's hockey, and players get hurt.
It's not something that I endorse. It's just a testament to the style of hockey that Andreas Englund does play, because I think he's also a collision with Buchnevich that had him leave the game.
Yep.
He led the team in hits. He's just a really punishing player to play against. Even though he makes mistakes, that is the one thing that Andreas Englund does bring to the table. You don't like to see them get as injured as Logan Brown did, but...
For sure. And, obviously, hope everyone's okay. But looking at the game, all of it was more or less freak injuries more than anything egregious on either side. So have no problems with it. The third period itself, it feels like it's been a while since I've gotten to say the Avs won the special teams battle. They definitely won it in this hockey game. Megan, I'm sure you have some notes on it in there somewhere. What was working for the Avs power play tonight?
I really liked 3 of their 4, and in the one that I didn't like, you don't expect every one of them to be.
They can't all be bangers.
The second one, too, what I did like that worked well that just didn't happen in the second power play, too, was they just didn't make very good decisions. And so they were having passes interrupted, and they had to keep resetting. They really weren't able to establish the zone in the second one. However, the ones that I did like, even the first one that they don't score on, that was something they were doing well, is they were cycling the puck. And they were getting the puck to the slot, even though they weren't finishing on those chances in the first. This is what ultimately rewarded them when they were able to capitalize on the power play. And this is seen in both the first and the second unit. The first unit gets it done first, the second time. And so I think that's a testament to these pieces starting to click a little bit better, too. Because we've talked, we don't know that it warranted retinkering it so much that you change the personnel on PP1 and PP2. This is how it's meant to operate, and it just hasn't always been effective. But they were well positioned this time. I liked on the first one the pass from Lehkonen. Sometimes I wonder what Lehkonen's doing in the slot. What role does he serve? And this is exactly what happens. McKinnon sends it through traffic. Lehkonen is able to find that puck and very cleverly find Val Nichushkin. It was just, that's exactly why he's there.
All the credit in the world to Artturi Lehkonen to have the wherewithal to go between a guy's legs, find that puck, and not panic, throw it right back into the pads or something like that.
There's a lot of bodies around him.
It was very intentionally on the backhand, slide it over to Val, who Val is able to essentially toss it into an empty net.
Easy, right?
Yeah. Big for Val to get one in the back of the net. He hadn't had one since he came back, really.
I think it's huge because we've talked about how he hasn't quite looked 100%. I thought he has looked better, though. If he is a percentage, is inching up.
From 90 to 91 today.
Yeah, from 90 to 91. And so this is huge in the same way that Dennis Malgin scoring goals is huge. It's very freeing for a player, and I'm really happy for him.
I guess my question then would be, is this it? Does he need to continue doing this and being effective in areas like the net front until he can get back to the full 100% choo-choo train?
Absolutely, because that is his style of hockey. That's how he scores goals, power play or 5-on-5, is being a net front menace. And that's why, too, you count on him to control possession in the offensive zone, heavy forechecker, getting them chances in that way, and then planting himself at the net front so he can either screen the goaltender if somebody else is shooting on net or tap it in himself. And that's just the way that complements him as a player best.
Look, I'd be blinded if I was looking at that gold chain as a goalie, too, all right? It's a good screening mechanic.
It's a good screening mechanic.
I do love the contrast of the 2 goals that the Avs score on the power play in the third period. Both of them kind of created similarly, right? Some chaos ensues after a puck gets into the dangerous areas, but one is bang it home in front. The other is it comes outside, quality play from your defenders, and then does Bowen Byram have the second best shot on the Avs defense?
That was a ridiculous one-timer. Also, that defender, Sam Girard.
Yeah.
See, that's where he becomes complicated tonight.
Yep.
I love a step back from that, what Alex Newhook does to set up JT Compher for this shot attempt that becomes the rebound that Girard smartly pulls up in the play to collect, finds Byram, and then Byram, that just was a wonderful
laser
shot.
Beam. A great point on the start of that play, too, because that was really a full team effort to get that thing created.
Loved what Newhook was doing there.
Yep. Is able to get to the outside in, I guess. Directions are hard. But it really did feel like a game where Colorado was just confident, right? They came into this game knowing they should win, knowing they were going to win, and played like it. Obviously, by the time the 4th goal goes in, both teams are like, all right, this game is over, which is ideal for the Avs. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But before we do, we are brought to you by the people over at Green Mountain Dental Group. Make sure you're taking care of your teeth. If you have the unfortunate happening of going face first into the ice, really hope you don't, but if your teeth are messed up, Green Mountain Dental Group can take care of you. If you have regular human teeth, unlike a hockey player, just get a cleaning, x-ray, and exam with them, and they'll give you a free Sonicare toothbrush just for taking care of your teeth. Makes it so you can take care of your teeth at home, too. It's a win all the way around, so be sure to go get in on it with Green Mountain Dental. And then, if you've been injured at work in an accident, be it Cale Makar or Logan Brown. Was it Logan Brown? It was Logan Brown. Okay. Call Bacchus and Schenker. I guess this was in St. Louis, so I don't know if Bacchus and Schenker covers St. Louis.
That's a
but
good point.
They definitely cover Colorado, whether you've been in a car accident, even if it's in a rideshare situation or a motorcycle, or at work and it's not your fault. Call 222-2222 today for Bacchus and Schenker. They'll give you a free consultation, and if you have a case, they will take it on for completely free. You pay nothing until you win your case. $0. It's kind of a big deal because it turns out going to court is really expensive, and you don't have to pay any of it in this case. They're also very good at what they do. They've won over $1 billion for their clients over the years. They've been doing it for over 25 years. They're just the best in the biz, to be honest with you. Go check them out today. You can go to coloradolaw.net or push 2 for a while to get yourself Bacchus and Schenker. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Megan, I know you said Cogliano talked about their back-to-back strategy being the opposite of what you might think, but they really seem to let up in the last 5 or so minutes of this game.
It's like selectively conservative. You earned the right to be conservative there in the final period, final moments.
I like putting it that way. They earned it because that's what it felt like. I think we've talked, or certainly I've talked a lot about the Avs not doing a good enough job giving themselves easy ones this year, not making their lives easier, and they did that tonight. And I think you even felt a little bit during the watch along in the chat. St. Louis gets the 1 goal, and it was like, oh, God, here we go again. The Avs are another 2-goal lead. They didn't do that in this one. They took care of business. In the third period especially, they finished this hockey game, and that deserves credit. It deserves to be noted because we certainly note every time they blow a lead. So is this a shift in the right direction? I hope so. as we've already talked about, you need to see them sustain it. Expectations heading towards tomorrow. Josh Manson, bolster the core a little bit. Do you need to see anyone in the depth step up, or is tomorrow McKinnon's turn to be the man?
Well, I kind of viewed Byram's contributions tonight as depth, but it's really not exactly depth.
That's true.
But the reason being, it still needs to be more than a McKinnon or a Rantanen in tonight's case. Like, whether that be a Byram or a Taves. Like, if Taves wants to have a night tomorrow. Or depth. That's, I still feel, a part of a necessary win. And so I think McKinnon absolutely will need to be present, one of Rantanen or McKinnon, but I still think it's one additional thing beyond that. It can be the defense stepping up, or it can be a Cogliano type, a New Hook type, Ben Myers.
You will have a rested Georgiev.
That's going to be huge. I'm relieved that the way this worked out for Justus, because I would have been very fearful with Justus tomorrow.
Rookie goalie against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl's hard to feel confident
Feels
about.
unfair,
Sure.
yeah.
So you never know. The Avs certainly have proved they can outscore some of their problems. They can also just play quality possession hockey. A little bit harder to do against the likes of McDavid, but if you get quality performances out of sections, right? You don't need all 4 top 6, bottom 6 defense goaltending. You get 3 of those, you're probably going to win.
The team defense they displayed tonight to protect Justus, if they can replicate something similar to that in front of Georgiev, it's going to all work together really well.
And I want to give credit to the Avs forward depth there. Maybe not the best production tonight from them, but especially the Cogliano-O'Connor line.
Yep.
Were giving up nothing. They were just all over pucks, and St. Louis was going nowhere against them. So finding ways to be effective beyond scoring remains important. I think we have a couple super chats here, and then we can start wrapping things
I can't
up.
believe the time of day.
It's so early. I'm gonna get home before the sun is down.
This is exciting.
It's crazy. $5 from Vaguely Sober, who says just one today for Bo. Thank you very much, Vaguely. Much appreciated. They're not even sweaty boys. He's respecting the Bo today. $5 from Dylan, who says, does skate blade to stick shaft combo go on the Nichushkin goal map? I mean, I think we already have skate and stick covered, so I think this one might be a repeat. But he's got to make it interesting, right? It can never just be straight into the net. They even had to review this one to make sure that the kick didn't go straight in. So
I was surprised.
it's always interesting, but if it ends up in the back of the net legally, I am not going to complain. That is for sure. Looking at the Avs as a whole, they pick up 2 points, which is big because Minnesota won last night. So they maintain solidly in that third position. Now, with games in hand still, they're starting to chase down Winnipeg a little bit. Has Winnipeg played yet, or are the Avs into 4 points back now? I'd have to look, but I'm not 100% sure. Either way, you're definitely seeing the standings adjustments you were wanting to see coming out of the All-Star break. You were wanting to see the Avs start to settle upward into the Central Division, and that has started to happen. I think I said the Avs need 3 points out of each back-to-back of these 3. They got 3 out of the first. They've already got 2 out of this one, so can't do much better up to this point. There you go. You guys got to get it to 100 likes for victory shots.
Is that real, or did Tiff just make that up?
That is, it's real now.
It feels real.
It's real now.
I just didn't know that. It sounds very real.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, no, that's the official rule now. Is 100 likes for victory shots. That we're making that like the code. Yeah, that's what's happening. We're gonna die during the playoffs, but I mean, I'll try.
I'll try. That's the strategy for
there
the
you go.
Avs
Thank you,
tomorrow.
chat. Jets play tomorrow. So really would like to see the Avs get some momentum. I'm not going to say go on a winning streak. Obviously, the Segababas are going to make that difficult, but start pushing in the correct direction consistently. I'm going to be honest. I think the Central is soft. I think the Avs could easily, certainly catch Winnipeg and maybe even catch Dallas. Megan, are you a believer, or are you comfortable with the Avs in third?
I'm comfortable with the Avs in third, but if they go on to topple Winnipeg, I will be happy for them.
Are you worried about home ice in the playoffs at all, or are you comfortable with the Avs
their
on the road?
road record last year, honestly, it hasn't even been bad this year. So I'm
It's true.
fine with that.
I think
they should always strive for more, but
if
maybe
anything,
personally.
they should improve their home road a little bit down the stretch here, and needs to get a little bit better at Ball Arena.
Definitely.
So, all right. Any final thoughts?
No. Nah.
My final thought is go over to DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account. You bet $5 on anything, you get $200 in free bets, and then you can use your $200 to bet on whatever you want. You think the Bo Show is back? Bet it all on Bowen Byram to score next game. You think the Avs are going to blow another Segababa? Bet it all against the Avs. Or bet it in pieces all over the place. We had a bunch of people here at the bar watching Premier League this morning, because that's what people do when I'm asleep in the mornings. If you can bet on that, for sure, as well. So go check it out at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Other terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. See the show notes down below for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Also, a couple of things coming up. One, the party bus, full tickets are sold out. There still are a few tickets left. If you already have tickets to the game, you want to ride the bus with us, it's a $20 ticket. You get free beer on the bus. You don't have to pay for parking. You come back to the bar afterwards so you can party with us. It's going to be a blast. Highly recommend you join us for that. Get some of the last tickets there. And I believe we are hosting another... is it a Pride night? It's not the Avalanche Pride night.
That's right. There's a community group that organizes it, Avalanche of Pride, and we're going to host them the 24th?
I believe it's the 24th, yes.
That's the Jets away game, right?
Yep. So you can come on down and have a good time down at the DNVR bar for a fun Avs gang watch-along. Highly recommend coming to the bar if you're local, if you haven't made it out for a while. We're vibing out here.
I think I actually remember working last year for that when I was bartending, and it was a lot of fun. Like, everybody kind of came out, decked out, with their flags and, dressed up. It was super fun. So, yes, come out to that.
It's a Friday. Come on
there
down.
you go. I mean, I don't think we need to sell that any more than that. It's a Friday. Why aren't you here? All right. Looks like you guys came a little short of the 100. Sorry, fam. Next time.
Thank
Sucks
you
to
all
suck.
for the
Better
likes.
luck next time.
We appreciate all of you. Keep your eyes out. Starting Monday, our whole series of Avalanche trade targets video series is just starting on YouTube on Monday. So
Ooh, fun.
hopefully they're not all traded by Monday, but
No.
that'll be a lot of trades. We did a lot of videos.
That'd be a lot of trades.
So be sure to keep your eyes here on YouTube. You've already liked, subscribe if you're new and you like us. That helps us out a ton. We appreciate you, and we will see you, I guess, tomorrow afternoon. Less than 24 hours. Bye.